Hello, 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 everybody. Give me a big thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear. Hello, hello from Texas, hello from Virginia. So, today, Aaron from Florida said I can't stay long, but I wanted to let you know I passed yesterday. Thank you so much for your help. Hey, congrats. Love hearing stuff like that. That is amazing. So, today, I wanted to tell you bright and early before we get into it, okay? First, please do hit that like button if you haven't already done so, whether you're watching on recording or live, okay? Aaron, yeah, I remember we did 2 tutoring sessions together. Love it, love it, love it. I love seeing some of my tutoring students go in and pass the exam. Look, listen, I believe that it works, okay? Working one on one with somebody helps kind of sort the kinks out, okay? Kind of helps you moving and grooving. So, what we're doing today, wanted to say this right from Jump Street, I am going to be going over the amortization table today. That is the plan. So, if you have taken the test and you have not seen an amortization table on your test, this is something that, listen, not every state, not every single one of them is going to do that, but I don't know which ones there are. This is something that is on a lot of your exams, okay? And of course, I always say no math on California. So this is something that a lot of people always ask for. So we are going over the amortization table. So give me a big smile in the chat if the amortization table is something that you struggle with. Let me know. Emily also said she passed. Congratulations. Okay. 100% love seeing people passing. That's what our goal is here. So a lot of people are struggling with that amortization table. So what we're going to do is this. Okay. Yeah, someone said they had 3 questions on this on their tests. Okay. So here's the situation with the amortization table. Once you see it, okay, so here's the thing with the amortization table, and I'm going to tell you this right off the bat. What we're going to do first is really kind of get a good understanding of what the amortization table is, okay? And then what we're going to do is this. We're going to kind of go from there as far as what kind of questions that you could see. Because there's 2 types of questions that you might see on the exam. Actually, there's only 2 types of questions that they could ask you off of the amortization table. So this is similar to a multiplication table. We're going to, as I said, get really familiar with what the chart is showing us. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into those 2 types of questions. So, first and foremost, what I want to do is this. I want to ask you, what are these numbers in the middle? What are these numbers in the middle? What are those? Like if I'm looking at this chart and I see all these numbers here in the middle, what are those numbers? And also, too, I'm going to give you a quick tip for when you're taking the test, if you're taking it at a testing center. I always suggest, I always suggest that you ask your proctor where the amortization table is if they're going to use one. So when it's appropriate, do that right from Jump Street. Because here's the thing. Your proctors are human, okay? Your proctors are 110% human, okay? And what happens is this. It's a situation where they can forget to tell you something. You do not want to be the victim of them having an oops moment. So, it's usually pretty obvious where the amortization table can be found. Sometimes it's in the cubicle, sometimes it's on the computer, whatever the case may be. But this is something that I always suggest that you ask where the amortization table is, because again, it might not be obvious. Okay, someone said it's taped to the desk. Yeah, sometimes in certain testing centers it would be taped to the desk, it would be in the cubicle, something like that. So that's why I always tell you to ask. That is like a very big Stu tip. Now let's talk about what we're looking at here, what do we have here? So the situation is this, okay? Situation is that the amortization table is going to show you all these numbers in the middle are your monthly payments per $1,000 of a mortgage. So this is showing you your principal and interest payments if you had a $1,000 mortgage. So if you had a $1,000 loan and $1,000 mortgage, okay, this is showing you what you would be paying monthly for both principal and interest. So there's nothing else that you would be paying as far as your monthly payments. Your monthly payments, what would happen is this. It would be a situation where you are just going to be paying this amount. Now, you might pay your taxes and insurance that might be rolled into it, okay? So that is something that you might have, but we're not going to worry about that when we're looking at the chart. So someone asked a great question. Do they let you use this on the exam? Yes. If they're going to ask you questions where they reference an amortization table, they will 100% want to know if you have the capabilities of using this chart. Now, this is not, listen to what else I'm going to tell you. It is not the same exact chart, so don't memorize numbers. Don't memorize a chart that you might see somewhere. It might not be the same numbers. So let's talk about how you find that monthly payment per $1,000 of a mortgage, excuse me. Your interest rate is right here, okay? Your interest rate is right there. Above and going across the top is the term of the loan. So the term of the loan, either it could be an interest-only loan, a 10-year loan, a 15-year, 20-year, 25, 30, or 40-year loan. Now, when it comes to the questions, they will tell you the term and the rate. Once you find the term and the rate, what you're going to do is this. So let's say it was a 20-year at 3%. Our monthly payments for a $1,000 mortgage would be $5.54598 every month for 20 years. That's what it would be. It will be 5.54598 every single month for 20 years. Once you find that number, listen to what I'm going to tell you. You do not need to reference the 20 years or the interest rate ever again. This is like a multiplication table. If I said to you, what is 5 times 7, and you were using a multiplication table, once you found the number in the middle, you would not need to use 5 or 7 again to help you get anywhere else with the question. So, I'm going to go real slow through this. My question to you is this. Do you have any questions so far if you're here with me live in the chat? So far, so good. All good so far. Perfect, perfect, excellent. That's what I love hearing. Okay. And here's the thing with this. What I'm going to say is this. If you get tripped up with the math, okay, if you get tripped up with anything that is, that you're struggling with, especially the math, don't get frustrated with anything. So what I'm going to tell you to do is this. I'm going to tell you sometimes what you need to do is take a step back, watch it on replay, okay? Because again, I anticipate that I'm going to be losing some people as we're moving along the way. That's fine. If you're getting lost, what I'm going to tell you is don't get frustrated. Come back, try to see if you could get through it. If not, it might be a good thing to maybe see another video. I've done a couple of these over the years. Or it might be something that what you need to do is you need to, maybe read through it on the book or just kind of push it off to the side for a little bit. There's no shame in doing that. So when it comes to the math, always say, give yourself some space. Now, we know that someone's approved for a 20-year at 3%, and we know, based off of the table, that they're going to be paying $5.54598 per month. Okay? So what happens is this. Someone asked me this. So is that $5 per $1,000 of the total amount? This is for your monthly payments on the loan. So it's not the total that the home is going to be purchased for if there's a down payment, unless it was 100% financing. So it's a good question. Someone else asked, so do we multiply 20 years by 3%? Nay, nay. When you're leveraging a amortization table, you would not do that. You would not do a what was I going to say? A multiplication of the two. This isn't something that you would have to multiply them. I use the multiplication table as a reference to say that if this were a multiplication table, think about it. Picture a multiplication table in your head. And let's say you had 7 up here and then 5 over here. When you went over and found the number that is the answer, you don't use 7 or 5 again. They do not come into the equation. So this is the same way. I was saying that when you're using an amortization table, you don't need... So once you find 5.54598, you don't need the 20-year or 3% again. You're not going to use them at all. So my question to you is this. We're going to start really nice and simple. The first question that I have for you is, what would be my monthly payments for principal and interest if I had a 20-year loan, okay? I was approved for a 20-year loan at 3% for a $2,000 mortgage. For a $2,000 mortgage. So I was getting a $2,000 loan. How would you figure that out? I'm approved for a 20-year at 3%. I had a $2,000 mortgage. How would you figure that out? Take a stab at that. What would you do? And I want to see. So if you're here with me live, please go ahead and type that into the chat. And remember, like I said, if you haven't already, hit that like button. It really does help us out over here at the Prep Agent team. Okay? Someone said 5.54598 times 2. Yeah, 100%. Let me ask you this, okay? What if it was a $10,000 loan? What would we multiply by? We take this number in the middle. So, again, a $2,000 loan, we're taking this and multiplying it by 2. $10,000 loan. How much are we multiplying it by? 10. Yeah, absolutely. What about a $50,000 loan? What are we multiplying it by? $50,000 loan, we would be multiplying 5.54598 by 50. What about a $375,000 loan? I think you're getting the gist of this. We would be multiplying it by 375. So, what did we just learn? Well, what we just learned, we just learned how to solve for the first problem when it comes to an amortization table. If they ask you, okay, if they ask you for the monthly payments, basically you have the monthly payments for a $1,000 mortgage, okay? You just have to figure out how many thousands are in the mortgage. So here's the thing. In a $2,000 mortgage, wouldn't it be 2,000s? Okay. If it is a $10,000 mortgage, wouldn't it be 10,000s that are in there? Sure. Okay. 100%. Someone said, what if it's 375,500? Okay. Does that mean that we multiply 5.54598 by 375.5? Yes. So if there's anything after, you know, that, you would basically make it 0.5. Yeah, absolutely. That is exactly, literally, verbatim what it is. That is it. So yeah, if you do have anything that isn't an even, like, an even number like I was giving you, okay, that's literally how to solve for the monthly payments. So that is usually the easiest part. So let me ask you this: do you have any questions on that? And that's usually, again, that's the easier of the two questions. I do recognize that. That's why we start with that. Okay, that's why we start with that. The other one gets a little more complicated, but not too much. Okay, not too much more complicated. So a lot of people are saying that they got it in the chat. Ooh, I love seeing that. I love seeing that. That's why I take my time with this one. That's why I did tell you that we were going to go slow, give you the space to ask questions, give you the space to really try to understand this. Because also, too, if you have a question on this, it's a situation where what happens is I want to make sure that we answer it because someone else might have the same question. That's why a lot of the questions that came in were really great. Okay, so now I'm going to erase a bunch of things just to make it a little easier. We're still going to use the same number. Let's, because I like the 20-year. 3%. We'll still use that, okay? So 5.54598 is the monthly payments for $1,000 of a mortgage, okay? Someone asked if this is the standard rate. What happens is the situation is this. Bottom line is I would tell you that what you need to do is that this isn't going to be something to memorize. You don't need to memorize this because they're going to provide you, if they're going to use this on the test, again, they will provide you with it. So the next type of question that you could get is this, where they would give you a monthly budget for principal and interest. They would give you a monthly budget for principal and interest. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a monthly budget of $1,800. Okay. So they would tell you a buyer is approved for 20 years at 3%. So they're approved for a loan at 20 years at 3%. Their monthly budget for principal and interest is $1,800. How much of a loan could they afford given these numbers, given this budget? Okay. So it's a situation where, okay, what happens is this. I want to know, what do you think would be our first step in a question like this? In a question like this, where I give you a monthly budget, okay? And now, here's the thing, too. They might ask you to solve for multiple, like they might give you multiple ones. They might say they're approved for a 20-year at 3%, and they're approved for a 25-year at 3.25%. Which one would give them the most buying power? They might ask you that. They might ask you the difference. Okay. So what happens is this. What would we do with this information? So we have their monthly budget, right? And we know the monthly payments per $1,000 of a mortgage. Okay. So the question is this, okay? The question is, what is our first step? So, in this one, and I'll let you answer it. I'll give you like 30 seconds to answer it, then I'm going to tell you. What do you think our first step would be in this situation? So, the first step that we would do is this, okay? The first step is that we would do this. We would divide 5.54598 into 1,800. We would divide it, because here's why. Listen to what I'm going to tell you, okay? Listen to what I'm going to tell you. The situation is this. You want to find out basically how many of those monthly payments fit into the monthly budget, right? You want to figure out how many of those monthly payments fit into it. And what happens is this. What you would do is you would basically divide 1,800 by 5.54598. And we're going to make it easy. That comes out to about 324 and some change. We're just going to call it 324, okay? 324 is what the number would be. Now, with that information, okay, what would your next step be to find out how much they could afford as far as a loan is concerned? What would be the situation as far as what they could afford as far as a loan? So, and if you got a different number, listen to what I'm going to tell you. If you got a different number, check the math that you did. Okay? Check the math that you did. So what happens is the math is going to be a situation where that is going to be the crux of a lot of your problems. So the calculations you put into the calculator are going to hurt you. That's why I always say double and triple check the numbers. Okay? So if you divide 1,800, okay, if you divide 5.54598 into 1,800, you should get 324 and some change. Now, the next step is a really simple one. You multiply 324 by 1,000. That's it. So what they would be approved for as far as a loan amount, okay, they would be approved for a loan in the amount of $324,000. Okay? So someone said they'll be watching the recording. Yeah, definitely. I always suggest that you do that. I always suggest that you come back and watch a recording because sometimes you can do that, especially with math. You can watch it at your own pace. So, any questions on that? Because once you figure out how many of the monthly payments per $1,000 fit into your monthly budget, you just take the number that you get from that and multiply it by 1,000, because you have to understand this chart, every number here is just showing you the monthly payments per $1,000 mortgage. So everything is based off of that. Everything is showing you principal and interest per 1,000. Okay? So, let me just double check my math. Because I want 1,800 divided by 5.54598. Yeah, it's 324.55. So, 324.55. So that's why I said we just round it to 324. So if you did not get 324, double, quadruple check your math. Make sure that you are plugging in the full number. Don't round that up. I didn't tell you to round that up. Don't round it up. Don't round it down. Don't do that. Don't do any of that stuff. I don't like when you do that. Don't deviate from what I'm telling you. Okay? It's a situation where that's going to basically get you into trouble if you do that. So, okay, Tina said that seemed simple after explaining it. Yeah, this is not hard. And now here's what you could do. Just so you know, on your own, you could always just try to test yourself with pulling up an amortization table online. And you could basically say, okay, write out a question where you say, just randomly say to yourself, okay, it's a 25-year at 4%. How do I find the monthly payments? Well, you just go to that and you just change it up. Literally, every single question that I ask is just a variation of that, putting it into words and everything. So what happens here is it's a situation where you just have to get used to. You just have to get used to using the amortization table. Again, it's not on every single exam, but it is on enough that I always do this once every 3 to 4 months. Okay. And what I would tell you is this: if you're having any problems as far as seeing the chart, okay, again, I would just pull up a random amortization table on Google. You could do that, okay. Your textbooks usually should provide one, okay. It's a situation where you really should be able to get that. So the answer to the question that I was asking, where I said it's an $1,800 monthly budget, 324,000 is the loan amount that they would be approved for in that situation. Okay, 324,000 is the loan amount. So I'll take a couple more questions if there are any, but that's pretty much it for today. I just wanted to really kind of go over this, and also tomorrow we'll be doing. Let me check what our webinar is for tomorrow and what time, because I might be changing that. I'm not sure because I have personal things coming up left and right. Having a newborn is absolutely crazy, so I might be changing the time of Facebook Friday for tomorrow. I might be changing it to the later in the day situation where I usually do those. So I might be doing that, but keep an eye out for that. So anyone else have any other questions that they want to ask me today? So a lot of people said thank you for this. Yeah, like I said, I do this every couple months. Okay, so yeah, when I said newborn, he's 5 months old now. So thank you for the congrats. Yeah, it's crazy. My household is absolutely insane. So, but we're getting to the good part now. So everyone, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great one.